Introducing National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk programming that you can access 24/7. For the premier sports talk experience, tap into our Roku channel. Start your mornings with Mac and Jack covering all the weekend sports action. Then pour a cup and enjoy all the sports you can drink on the Coffee and Sports podcast. At midday, talk sports from east to west on the Coast to Coast podcast. Followed at night by some hot girl talk with Prim and Proper Sports featuring Sonia Pearson. Talk boxing on the Gloved Fist. Yankee fans tune in for Start Spreading the News. And there's more on the College Sports Huddle and Sports Scope with Robert Butler. There are 20 podcasts in all and 70 weekly shows giving us a 3.4-star viewer rating. To find us on Roku TV, search for National Streaming Sports on the Roku search bar. Click on the logo and you're in. National Streaming Sports, live and on-demand sports talk for America.
You're watching National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasts, 70 shows, and a 3.5-star rating on Roku TV.
What's up, guys? Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Sonia of Prim and Proper Sports. I'm joined by Jay Train. Welcome back. Jay Train's been out for a little bit. So glad to have you back with us tonight. And B. Strilla. You guys, I don't know what is happening. Give me 1 second. Whoever is streaming on the platform is going over, and I am not able to add us over there. And I know I'm going to get a phone call if it doesn't go through. So anyway, welcome. James, while we're getting set up, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling invigorated. I don't know. Maybe getting sick ought to happen more often so I can get up and get some energy. 50 years old, man. I don't know what to think about 50, except that I'm here. I got a little sick for my birthday, but I feel better on the flip side. So, and I'm glad to be here on Fridays with the fellas.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that. But 50 does hit differently. Let's be clear. It hits way different. I'm a few weeks ahead of you, and I tell people it literally feels like somebody hit a light switch. So, it's wake up time, and you got to start taking better. Not you,
y'all babies.
Y'all babies. Got to start taking better care of yourself.
Y'all the babies.
Across the yeah, we know, B. Strilla, you've been in the 50s for a little bit, but we love being babies. We love being babies. So, for some reason, I cannot get this to air on our network. I don't know who's on there, but their show is going over, and it has just screwed us up. So. For our Northeast Professional platform, we will re-air this at 2 a.m. If you're watching this on a replay, it's because we could not ever link it at 9 o'clock, and it's now 9:04, and we still are not able to connect, and we have a show to do. So as they say, the show must go on. Guys, you see I'm representing my blue here. Duke, my Blue Devils, still going strong. I actually was nervous. Let me be clear. I was a little nervous with the Arizona game, but Cooper Flagg, raised those flags, got it done, and he had some help from the squad. And early on, it looked like Duke was suffering from some penalties. And I was like, this foul trouble is going to really be significant in the end. But it balanced out, both teams giving fouls, getting penalties, what have you. And Duke marches on to the Elite Eight. Did you guys catch the game?
Mm-hmm.
Be Strilla is so distracted. Let me say, I didn't catch much of the game.
I know. I heard what she said. I was just about it.
He's not happy. Yeah. Your Michigan's gonna be playing a little bit later on, right?
Yeah, he does.
I got Michigan State and Michigan on right. Well, Michigan State's playing right now.
Michigan State's getting all they can handle from.
Yeah, they are. They got some defense.
Ole Miss
got some defense. Yeah.
Ole Miss got some. What's the score on that game?
58-57 Ole Miss right now with 4:41 left. Okay. But Michigan State's starting to wake up, so their offense is starting to wake up. They look bad. Oop.
But Duke is they moved on from the Sweet 16 all the way to the Elite Eight now, so they're gonna have a tough game against Alabama, right? Is that who they're playing?
Yep. Alabama tomorrow night. I'm excited folks is talking, but I'm not worried.
I am going to say this, and I'm going to say this one time. Duke is going to definitely go all the way. Alabama's not going to be able to stop them because they're not going to be able to shoot three-pointers like they did against Duke, like they did against BYU. It ain't happening.
Okay.
They set a tournament record with three-pointers. It ain't going to happen against Duke. Duke is a bigger team, and they defend the three-point line pretty well. So I don't see that happen. I see Duke beating their behinds too. And there's a but to this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Arizona should have been closer in that game. A couple of bad foul calls that were they should have gotten the way they did the fouls were kind of wrong. They had a flagrant that should have been a flagrant where Arizona got two shots and the ball out of bounds, and they didn't do that. They didn't even know what the hell they were doing half the time, the referees on the foul calls. It's like every time they were going to the table to check a foul call out. I said,
every possession, right. I was like,
dude.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a competitive game. I give it to Flag. I mean, what's his face? What is his name? Rose for Arizona, who used to play on Duke. That dude was balling. He was balling. He had like 38 points in that game.
Yeah, that was a payback game too, because Caleb, who plays for Arizona now, used to play for Carolina, and he's the one that bid Coach K adieu on his last matchup as Coach K went into retirement. So it was some retribution there, and it tasted really good. I mean, it's good for now. I'll just put it like that. Would have been better when Coach K was still there, but hey, Coach K is always there. He's always somewhere watching and keeping up with the squad. J Train, what's the biggest games you caught a whiff of, highlights, scores, or whatever? I know it's a lot of basketball. We're now in the last 16, but we'll be going into the Elite 8 here starting tomorrow.
Again, I hadn't really caught much of that. The games, just the scores and highlights. I'm trying to look them up right now. B. Strilla, I would say if you can cover that for me, man, it'd be great.
Well, I mean, the team that kind of surprised me yesterday was a really good game. Was the Arkansas-Texas Tech game? Oh my God, boy! I tell you, Arkansas dropped the ball so bad, literally and figuratively, in that game. They had a 20-point lead at one time over Texas Tech, and they end up losing in overtime. Come on.
That was crazy. And I would
fire a coach for that.
I turned the game off because I thought that game was a wrap when they had the 20-point lead. I was like, I'm going to do something else. So to come back and see it went down to the wire like that was insane. And then it's like you want to make sure, hey, it's not my team. I start really paying attention now that the Elite 8 are here. These are the ones you got to watch because they go into 4. And then 4 is to 2. So, as long as my boys are in there fighting, I'm going to make sure I'm there. Go Duke. This is their third appearance in the last 4 years in the Elite 8. I'm talking about Duke. And so we're looking forward. I'm looking forward. I know that B. Strilla has Michigan State, I believe, to win it all. But where do you have Duke going in your Final Four in your brackets?
Well, I didn't have them winning because I didn't lose to Arizona, but they took care of that problem. I think if I adjusted, I would put Duke in a championship game with Michigan State.
Yeah, I tried to tell you. But what about Florida? Have you guys caught up on Florida? Florida, the number 1 seed. There's a lot of number 1 seeds, and you remember you looked at my bracket and you were like, man, I got all number 1 seeds in there except one. Looks like
it's still only the Sweet 16 going into the Elite 8. Anything can happen. I'm still not impressed by Florida. Florida's played some tight games. They did play a pretty good game against Maryland. But other than that, they've been kind of shuffling throughout the tournament as well. As far as, let's see, who's playing tonight? Houston's playing tonight, ain't they? Yeah. By the way, the Tennessee UK game, which I thought was going to be good, Tennessee's winning by 15 points.
Didn't I tell you,
Tennessee is knocking them 3-pointers down. Hey, that's the difference in the game. You get hot hitting on threes, you can be bag school Division 5 and beat any big team. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. This is the problem with the basketball. There's
Kentucky, they
no
worked with
work.
Calipari years ago. Kentucky's not that powerhouse anymore.
Yep. Those Wildcats have been tamed. So there you have it. And shout out to Linda and Mac over at Roku. Mac, we hope you're resting up really well. We miss you, but don't worry, we got it from here. Guys, everybody coming in. This is Prim and Proper Sports. I'm going to try once again to try to connect Northeast Professional Sports. Hopefully that person has finished up their show now. Don't worry, there will be a chat coming later after this, because this, like, when you have a back-to-back show, you have to make sure you give diligence to everybody. And we want to make sure all our audience members are watching. And trust me, Mac and Linda watch on Roku. So if somebody's gone over, they're probably looking for my show. Let's see. Looks like we are finally connected at 10 after 9. So welcome to our Roku affiliates at Northeast Professional Sports. So apologies for the delay. The previous show clearly went over. And so we've been on air since 11 minutes ago trying to connect to this stream, but we're so excited to be here. I'm Sonia, J Train, and B Strilla, of course, and this is Fridays with the fellas of Prim and Proper Sports. And we're just talking a little March Madness. You know, that's neither here nor there. Those big games are gonna, you brought up the ones you were surprised about from yesterday, Strilla. I think that's kind of gonna be the sentiment across the board. Nobody saw that going down. Right now, Michigan State, Ole Miss tied 63 apiece. Kentucky getting that beat down from Tennessee, 37-51 right now. Live score tonight at 9:39. Michigan and Auburn will be kicking off. That's going to be a big game, number 1 versus the number 5 Michigan. And that game that we talked about that went overtime ended 85-83 Arkansas with a buzzer, if I recall correctly. Duke 100. They put a big triple on them to 93. Florida still hanging in there over the Maryland Terrapins, who had a good run. 87-71 was the final score of Sweet 16. And Alabama in the BYU game was nothing. Alabama 113, BYU 88. BYU stands for Bring Your Cell Phone Back Home. Ducks. Yes.
That's good. I like that one.
Yes. And so tomorrow's games will not be disappointing. I'm glad they're going to be on Saturday. Texas Tech versus Florida at 6 o'clock. They're giving y'all all day to get yourself together, to get your snacks, your drinks, all that stuff lined up for tomorrow night. It's going to be a big night, 6 o'clock. Texas Tech, Florida, 6:09. And then at 8:49, I'm going to be ready. Alabama and Duke, the number 1 versus number 2 seed. And then that's going to be, they're going to wrap that up. That's all they're going to give you for tomorrow. 4 teams of the Elite 8. Then Sunday, they are TBD. Monday kicks off the next round of games. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Now, March Madness continues to march on, but we do have some other breaking news. Let me go right over here. This was breaking news as of today. I'm surprised, guys, we didn't actually put this one in the chat. Your favorite person, not my favorite person. Colorado and head coach Deion Sanders have agreed to a 5-year, $54 million contract extension that makes him one of the highest paid coaches in the nation. In 2025, he'll get 10 mil, 26, 10 mil, 27, 11 mil, 28, 11 mil, and rounding out his contract in 29, barring any additional extensions, 12 million. He's 57 years old. He is 13-12 in 2 seasons as the Buffalo's head coach. Let's start there. J Train, I know that's your guy. I'm going to go ahead and let you, put him up there. Is it well deserved that he's now the highest paid coach at 13-12?
Yeah, I would say so. 13-12 is a little bit skewed because the first season, I mean, look, they came there 1-15. I mean, let's be real. Colorado was not on the map at all. Mm-hmm. And so when they got there the first year, they had a couple of good games in the beginning, obviously, but the team was still had a lot of holes in it, and they got exposed. And so they didn't do anything the first year. But the second year, 9-4, man, they really came out, and a lot of people had them, burnt out as far as like not doing anything, not being able to make a bowl game because of what happened the first year. And so they turned it around. You know, he had a couple of good players in the team. He got a little bit better in the recruiting. Got some of the offensive line to be able to hold up for Shedeur Sanders. But they did well. I mean, this team has really turned around, and recruiting has gotten better. They got a quarterback in to replace Shedeur Sanders. That's a highly touted, highly rated quarterback that other teams were looking to get, and Deion pulled them. So I think they're going to continue. I think it's well deserved, and there's still some coaches out there that are paid much more handsomely than Deion Sanders right now.
Well,
But
they're
the
saying
money,
he's the number one, though. Number one paid coach now.
I guess.
He's the highest paid coach now.
I would have to look that up and make sure, because I mean, I guess with Nick Saban gone and I don't know, some of these other guys, maybe just by a few bucks, because $10 million a year, some of these guys are making handsomely well over that.
He's the highest paid coach in the Big 12 and the fourth highest in the country, behind Georgia's Kirby Smart, Ohio State's Ryan Day, Clemson's Dabo Sweeney.
Dabo.
Dabo.
So
that put him up there.
Yeah. So let me tell y'all how I got this article, so they can know that next time writing and reading is fundamental, because they literally wrote, okay, you know what? That's on me, because it says one of the highest, and I missed that. I just saw the highest. So that's really on me.
But it's still up there. It's still up there. You're right. So he's paid, though. He's still up there. It's just he deserved it. I mean, because he was one of the lowest when they got there. I mean, they didn't offer him a lot of money at all, because they really couldn't afford it. They had to find ways to get money to pay him the money that he was getting. So, which is weird, being a big program like that, but just hadn't been really active, I guess, in all these years. They hadn't had a winning season, I think, in 20 plus years.
Long time. Yeah.
Winning is money. Winning is money. That's all it comes down to. This is why he got that contract, because winning is money, and his name brings all the girls, brings all the boys to the yard. He's trying to do a Keely reference, but
Khalees. His name. But anyway, brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, yeah.
So I think that Colorado it's a business. Colleges are a business, and the business is to get recruits to your team so you can win. And the more you win, the more money you make, because you're in those spots every year where you're winning your conference, in the national playoffs hunt, that kind of stuff. And I think Deion can do that, and I have to agree with that.
Yeah, congratulations to him. But I think about something that J-Train brought up. You know, we saw him come from Jackson, and they definitely didn't have no money down there in Mississippi. In fact, he literally brought awareness to how poor that area is. I mean, they were having issues with clean water, everything, and they could not afford to stay, with Deion, because they could not afford to pay him. So, he took him and some of the players, including his son and some other folks. It feels like he took half the team, honestly, but I don't know about that part. I want to be factual here. They went to Colorado, and I'm going to be honest, I was one of the biggest skeptics. J-Train will tell you, we've been doing a show since he basically went up there, and I'm just like, you know what? This team is not ready for that. I feel like Deion was focusing more on, his name. But maybe let me be more pragmatic. Maybe this was not his fault. He can't help who his name is. He can't help what he's worked hard for and he's gotten to. It's just like, we're here now on Northeast Professional Sports. Next week we could be on ESPN and everybody knows us. We can't help that people know us and like us, and they're like, oh, I remember when you were, on podcasts. Now you're, on ESPN. Same thing with Deion. You were with Jackson. Now you're with Colorado. Now you're winning. Now you're getting the big money. He can't help that. He put in the work, and he should be saluted for that. So to know that he's getting his due diligence, I will applaud that. I will also applaud, speaking about Deion, that he has apparently put a statement out. I have not read it, but I've saw like some glimpses of it, that he's like, hey, NFL, you got it wrong about my son. I don't want to put the narrative out there that it's a take my son or else, or my son deserves this. I want to express to everybody that wherever my son goes, that we will be grateful and we are gracious for the opportunity. Strilla, I'll start with you. Did you have an opportunity to see, the statement itself?
Mm-hmm.
What
I don't kind of agree with that because I don't think he's going to be happy where he goes.
You think it's
and that's just telling me
and
okay, and J Train ain't gonna like this either. This is telling me that he ain't going to the Giants because that's where he wants him to go. Now he's satisfied wherever he goes is where he's going to be at. So it's kind of telling me the Giants kind of laid off that talk with Shadir. Yep. I'm thinking that maybe Cleveland might try to get him. And hell no. If I was his dad and if it was my son, I'd be like, nope, I'm not going there.
You think it's damage control? You think it's like he's putting this out here now because he sees, like, wait a minute, my son
it could be that too. I don't know. I just think there's a lot of things you could take from what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And just like any NFL team that's out there talking about who they could get or talking in circles, it could be a smoke screen too. You never know.
What's your thoughts?
It's this time of the year.
Yeah, what's your thoughts, J Train?
Yeah, Sonya, look. I saw it. Deion Sanders is who he is. I think he's a relatively honest guy. He can be blunt at times. And I think he just understands that ultimately his son is going to be playing for somebody. Mm-hmm. He's going to be playing for somebody. And I think the biggest part about this, what I took from it, is that they put a little more information in regards to because he's still not backing down about what was said about his son. He's still not backing down in regards to the brash and arrogant statement that was. But they went out. He himself and Warren Sapp went on a diligent hunt to find out who said that. They actually found out who it was.
Wow! What?
And they talked to the team about it, and the team said we disagree with what that coach said. We had a great interview with your son, and we're looking forward to seeing what happens next. Clearly. He went on and said that about what his interactions with that particular team. They didn't put any names out there, but at the same time, I think that the teams that are available for his son, he understands that. Yes, I think I might have to agree a little bit with B. Strilla, is that there might be a little bit backtracking from New York, and they may or may not select him. I still think he's going to get selected in the top 5. He'll go. I mean, it's not going to be Jacksonville. It's not going to be the Patriots, New England. So, but it'll be either because I'm hearing a lot of people say that
it's going to the Saints.
Yep.
No, I don't think he's going to fall that far.
I don't know, man.
If the Saints want him, they may have to go up and get him a little bit, maybe in front of number 6, the Raiders, Las Vegas. You may have to get
the Raiders certainly ain't going to get him.
Oh, they may, brother. I'm telling you, Tom Brady. Don't discount Tom Brady and what's there.
Yeah, Shador. They have a relationship. Tom Brady is friends with Deion.
Absolutely.
He's also mentored Shador. I mean,
absolutely.
I would not be shocked. That actually is a good point, J Train.
And so, with that said, he could sit somewhere. But a lot of pundits and a lot of mock drafts have changed their tune, and they're looking at him falling no later than either Cleveland. Some people have him at number 2 at Cleveland. I'm shocked. But still a lot of them still have the Giants, and I just don't see him falling past 3 or at the latest 6. And so, I mean, if he fell to New Orleans, I would be clamoring for New Orleans to grab him because ultimately he's got the it factor, and he's a very sharp, precise passer. I mean, so if we can protect him and you get him the weapons, he got weapons there. He's got Chris Olave. He's got Rashid Shaheed. He's also got
Shaheed's coming back.
Yeah, they're all coming back. So if he falls there, man, he's got a kind of a ready-made offense. And with Alvin Kamara too, being a running back, he's throwing out of the backfield as well. But I'm not gonna keep my fingers crossed on that because I don't think he's falling past 6.
I wouldn't be surprised though.
I'm gonna be honest.
I wouldn't be surprised. But let me tell you something too. He would actually fall in a good space. Now, do you think they would start him this is hypothetical, obviously. If New Orleans gets him, would they start him or they let him sit a year and let Derek Carr take the majority of the snaps?
So Derek Carr, it's funny you bring that subject matter up. Derek Carr is not Kellen Moore's guy. He's only there. They did a lot of smoke screen and said that Derek Carr is going to be our quarterback for this year. I think most of that is about the money. Everything is about what they owe him. So they're going to give him the opportunity to be the starter only because they can't release him and take that huge cap hit. And next year they can release him. They can release him and get rid of that money.
Mm-hmm.
But so that it may only make sense to allow him to play. But will he start? I mean, if Shedeur Sanders was to come there, that city would be in an uproar because the city does not like Derek Carr. I mean, as of right now, as a matter of fact, there's some communication that he wanted to leave this year. He put his name out there to say, I'd like to go look for a trade, but it couldn't happen. Mickey Loomis wouldn't allow that to happen. He changed his contract, allow us to be able to make some free agency moves, having 30 million under the cap. And so, yeah, but I still think there might be an opportunity to answer your question, B. Strilla. If Shedeur Sanders were to come there, I think it would be an open door for a quarterback competition. And
any would match the culture. I mean, I'm sorry, J Train. I literally feel like the flashy persona of Dion and obviously at least a little bit of Shedeur. I mean, New York is a big city, but New Orleans is the entertainment. New Orleans and Las Vegas are entertainment capitals. Like they are entertainment cities. And so he would fit in literally with any of those three, literally.
Oh, New Orleans is a city of bling bling. He holds up his watch just like this. Everybody's going to be holding up their watch behind him just because of how he.
It's a statement.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I so believe that. I believe that. What's the score? Let's get a score check in with you, B. Strilla. You're watching the Michigan State game right now. What's the score? Last we checked, they were tied.
Michigan State has won. Bye-bye, Ole Miss. The game is over.
Wow, it's over. Congratulations to Michigan State. So I think I picked them to win as well. So that means I get another point on my spreadsheet here for the bracket. And congratulations to you, Strilla, because I know you picked all Michigan teams. So I know that's one that you have for yourself, correct?
No, that's not correct. I did not pick Michigan. I have Michigan losing to Auburn. So I didn't pick all Michigan teams.
Oh,
I'm a realist. Michigan might have some big players. I just don't think they can beat Auburn right now. It was looking like that at the beginning of the tournament, but
what do you think, J Train?
Look, Michigan. I don't know if these are Fab 5 days, but they may.
Exactly what I said.
They may have an opportunity. So I mean, anything can happen. That's what this is, March Madness. So there's opportunity. We'll see. But I'm with Strilla, so they may not have it. This might be the end of the road for them, but we'll see. Mm-hmm. We'll see.
They might be bringing out that boys to men. Okay, I'm gonna do something I rarely do. I rarely talk about my team extensively, but I need you guys to dedicate 5 minutes through here. Don't give me a short answer, even though this is something we talked about in the chat. I legit want to know the reasoning behind. So a couple of days ago, there was a video that came out. I don't know. I think it was an older video, but it has resurfaced where Cam Newton is working out and he's basically saying, hey guys, and I remember him saying this when it first happened. I didn't want to leave the Panthers. I had to leave because I didn't have a choice. They basically made me leave. I never wanted to not be a Carolina Panther, blah, blah, blah. After that video came out, like a couple months later, it was this big fan involvement and the Panthers brought him back. Everybody remembers the I'm back when we played Arizona. He got all in the camera and everything, and we won that one game, and then that was it. So he was only there for that part of that season he was signed. Well, apparently the Panthers wire in Charlotte, Joe Person has written this article that all is not lost with Carolina, and it now coming up on the 10th anniversary since the epic Super Bowl fail that we had against the Denver Broncos. there's a little nostalgia going around Carolina, not for an honoring of Cam, but for a reconciliation that it is not all off the table that Cam could come back and be a quarterback for our franchise. I didn't say starting quarterback. I said quarterback. J Train, I'll start with you because we're in the same division. And I know you are going to give me an opinion that is not emotional based. It's going to be straight facts. And Strilla, I'm going to let you be either able to, retort what he's saying or give a different opinion. And I'll give you guys my opinion.
I think it's a little too late for Carolina to come. I mean, this is all I would say just we're sorry, like we apologize and we understand what Cam Newton means to the Carolina Panthers nation and what he's done for the organization. I mean, obviously they went to a Super Bowl in 2003, I believe that's when that was.
2015.
No.
And
I
in
got a point.
2003.
Yes. I wasn't trying to. I'm not throwing a shot at Carolina.
No.
I'm just saying.
I know. I thought you were talking about the one with the epic fail, which was 2015.
Oh no. I'm just saying. Without Cam, yes, they made it there once, but with Cam Newton as their MVP was their that year in 2015, when that's their best year in the organization, and the whole organization. 2015 was the best year I ever seen in Carolina, and that's saying a lot. And most of that was on the back of number one, was on the back of Cam Newton. And so I believe him when he said what he said in that video, and what he got to lie for, and I think that they forced him. It's a business. At the end of the day, football is a business.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care who you are. You could be number one, Superman. You open your shirt and show your big S on your chest. But when it's time to feel like you're expendable, you're expendable.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, Cam Newton was expendable. It probably, looking back, probably wasn't a great decision, but I think they're just trying to save face a little bit. But if I'm Cam Newton, I'm just going to give my honest opinion. I'm not coming back as a quarterback right now. As beat up as I am, as hard as I played football, this is not this game is not for me. It's the NFL stands for not for long. Mm-hmm. And so when you have somebody that plays the way he played, the time he played, the prime years are gone. There's no way I'm coming back to play because I don't play that style of football. I don't play the pocket quarterback. I'm the guy that can get out of the pocket and scramble and run. And they design plays for me, but they're not going to design plays for a guy that's in his late 30s, because that style of football is gone for him. And he's making money. He's got a great media podcast right now, fourth and one, I believe, with Cam. Mm-hmm. And he's also on he's also on ESPN. There's the sky's the limit. Cam has always been a big personality. Mm-hmm. And I think that part of his career is where he should focus right now.
Okay. Hello, MD Vertis. Mia, how are you? Strilla, your thoughts?
I concur with what Jay Train was talking about. I mean, I think the best, actually, to tell you the truth, I think the best thing for him to do now is be a coach. I think he'd be a hell of a coach. He's got a good personality for it. So, and he loves the kids. So, being a coach would be great. Start off at a lower thing and just, boom, he could be where Deion Sanders is. You know what I'm saying? He could actually be in the NFL and coach. I think he's got a good personality for that. But as far as playing, no, dude, he can't work it all you want. You were working out when your last days in Carolina, when you came back, and you didn't do a very good job. You kind of look like, I'm sorry to say it, ass when you came back. You weren't the same Cam Newton that took that team to a Super Bowl in 2015. That's for sure. So you got to just go by what your physical abilities are, and if you can be a character person like he is. And I don't agree with everything Cam says, but that's just being a human being. Period. Nobody agrees with what everybody says, but he's got a character. If I was him, I'd be a coach because he loves football.
I don't know. So whereas I agree with both of you all, I know it's very difficult for me to remove my fandom. It really is. And I guess that's because during that era, like J Train said, that's the best the Panthers ever looked. I mean, we got fans galore that we never had that were from Carolina. So I don't want to call them bandwagoners because they live in Carolina and they didn't have another team before then. Those literally, that season was the most emotional season I can ever remember having in football because we were undefeated. You know, I remember I went and bought so many Panther shirts that year because I was literally wearing a Panther shirt every day, everywhere I went. I was going to my office with a Panther shirt on. I had gotten like some blinged out Panther shirts so they would look dressy and put a blazer over them, you know. Like I was going to court at work with a Panther shirt underneath with a blazer as long as all you could do is see the little bling up here. Like I went to church with Panther stuff on. I remember when the Panthers lost the Super Bowl and my minister's wife, they're from Dallas, they're big Cowboys fans. And I remember she sent me a text and she waited a couple of weeks and she noticed I wasn't wearing Panther stuff anymore. To me, I'm like, the season is over with anyway. And she literally said, you know, every Sunday for the last like 10 months, you would make sure you saw me and spoke to me every Sunday, and you always had a Panther shirt on. And I'm just trying to figure out, why did you stop wearing your Panther stuff? And why haven't I seen you speak to me? Because I'm like, I don't want to hear it because I don't want to hear what the Cowboys got they rings. I'm just out. You know, I'm just here. I just want to be a regular Christian that don't speak and just go on out the back door. I literally was saying I want to be a regular Christian that don't even speak to nobody. It was so heartbreaking, y'all. To this day, I have never watched the Super Bowl in its entirety. It's still on my TiVo. I've never watched it. Never, ever, ever watched it. Because once they got to the halftime or maybe a little bit after that, I saw how bad it was getting and I left. I was at my best friend's house. It was her, she had a Super Bowl party, but everybody had newborns. And so I was mad because I was like, listen, this is not a party. This is distracted. All these babies crying and stuff. I'm just going to leave. I think y'all don't really want the Panthers to win anyway. Y'all are all Falcons fans because, you know, we're here in Atlanta. And y'all are jinxing us winning. And it was
23.
Heartbreaking. I don't think I've ever experienced a more heartbreaking loss. Even when I've played like some sports in school or whatever, it never hurt as much as it did with these Panthers because it did bring a little bit of an arrogance. You know, I remember going into the Falcons game at the stadium. At that point, we were undefeated. I had on my Cam jersey, all these Falcon fans. Y'all about to catch that L today? I was like, oh, wow. And like, y'all coming for me. I can't even walk in. You know, I was getting everybody. I was like, yeah, we're just here because y'all on the schedule, literally. Like, did y'all see what we did to y'all in Charlotte? Do you think that you about to do something? We routed y'all 34-0. I was there. And they were like, yeah, we're going to mess up that record. I was sitting beside this kid that was probably 11. He had on a brand new Julio Jones jersey. It was blinding red. I knew it was new. And you know me, I'm talking junk to everybody. I don't care who you are. If you there, you going to get talked. So I was like, hey, when'd you get your jersey? And he was like, what? I was like, did you just get your jersey? He's like, yeah, a couple of weeks ago. I said, yeah, I know. I said, so you're a Falcon fan? And he was like, yeah. I said, let me go ahead and prep you now. How old are you? And I think he told me he was 10 or 11. I said, as long as you wear that jersey, get ready for a lifetime full of disappointment.
Why are you picking on the boy for? Why are you picking on the 11-year-old, man?
Yes, I did. But let me tell you, payback is a mug because when we lost that game, that same kid was sitting beside me and he was like, are you okay? I said, what are you talking about? He was like, do you see the score? The game is almost over. I said, mind your business. Y'all, I couldn't even get out of my chair. I waited for him and his dad and whoever was with him to leave. I felt paralyzed and literally my other truck, I got scratches on my truck because I was so mad when I left the game that I was arguing with people out in the parking lot. They're like, yeah, we was waiting on you, Red. We was waiting on you. Yeah, we did what we said, you know, because they were out the tailgate and we were waiting on you. I was like, don't wait on me. Wait on your mama. Wait on your mama.
Damn.
I said, and when the Vikings win tonight, make sure you enjoy your short-lived playoff victory because you're going nowhere because the Vikings were playing, and that's when Teddy Bridgewater was there, and they had like that field goal that propelled them. And, you know, at the end of the season, it's like this team over here got to win to keep you in. It's a whole lot of stuff I never understood the logistics of. Teams somewhere else got to win for you to stay in. But I pulled out real quick, and there was like a tree branch hanging down, and I heard it scratch up my whole hood. I didn't even care. I didn't even care. I just screeched out of there, fishtailed out of there. I want everybody to know I was mad about that game. But that game was just a preview of my disappointment for the Super Bowl. And to this day, I didn't know Cam didn't dive on the ball. I didn't know. I didn't know. People have told me that, and I have gotten in big arguments about it. I'm like, you're lying. There's no way Cam didn't do that. And they're like, yeah, pull the tape. I'm like, I'm not going to do it. Only time I finally fessed up to it was Cam talked about it on his podcast last year. And he said, I'm finally ready to admit that I did not dive for the ball. And in my mind, I was like, oh, these people were right. I've argued with so many people. And
telling you, the tape don't lie.
The tape don't
lie.
But y'all remember,
I was shocked when I saw it. I watched the game.
I never watched
Did a Rasheed Wallace on that boy.
I never watched the whole game. And then it's kind of akin to like how I look at the Lions today. You guys have kept your players intact, even going to the playoffs. The Panthers imploded their entire roster as soon as they got back. Jericho Cotton was out. Jonathan Stewart was out. Of course, Thomas Davis was already questionable because he was hurt and had his arm stitched up for the game. So we were kind of prepared for him to go. Josh Norman, Kelvin Benjamin, they split up everybody on that offense. And the team has never been the same since. And then once the Richardson debacle came about, nobody's ever said what actually happened with him. But Jerry Richardson, of course, had to sell the team because of something inappropriate. Nobody ever said what it was. But as soon as Tepper took over that team, it's never been the same. Tepper came in and fired everybody. And Shaq Thompson was the last of the original Panthers from 10 years ago. And he just became a free agent this season after 10 seasons. He was just on the team then. He was the cornerstone of the defense. And now he's not. So in my mind, yeah, Cam is not going to come back the same Cam. I don't even know if I would agree with him being a coach unless he's maybe an offensive coach or, something small to work his way up, because I don't know what his coaching style looks like. I don't know what his overall football acumen would be to actually be in a coaching position. I think he'd be good to be around the team, and I don't know how that would look if he did come back. How does that work? We already have Andy Dalton. How would that even work? But I want him to come back. I do want him to come back. I really do.
Well, first things first. Let's get the man in the Ring of Honor. Let's retire his jersey. Shout out to Kevo. Kevo said that in the comment. And
what's up,
and happy Friday, Pink Fur. Yeah, always putting out the great reel.
Yes.
I just think Cam Newton deserves at least that respect. Because he was a cornerstone on your team for quite a while. And the best, I put out my top 5 Panthers, as you saw earlier.
Yes, I was so impressed, J-Train. You really gave us some homage. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I give respect to teams. I'm a fan of the game, first and foremost. I'm a Saints fan, but I'm a fan of the game. So I respect whoever greatness, wherever greatness is, I'm going to always salute it.
That's how
so those top 5, and I'll go ahead and put that out there since fans might be watching. My top 5: Steve Smith Sr., number 1, Cam Newton, number 2, Julius Peppers, number 3, Luke Kuechly, number 4, and Mushin Muhammad, number 5.
I met Musha. He's super cool. I have a picture with
I'm
him.
surprised you didn't put Greg Olson on there.
Yeah, I was thinking about Greg. Greg is up there with
he's top 10. But yeah. And he's one of the best players that in that organization. He was one of Cam Newton's top targets.
Hell of a tight end, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Right. Cam don't get no respect. Like, for all that he did, like you said, J-Train, he carried that team on his back. He made football fun and familial. The whole family was having fun. Even if you weren't a Panthers fan, you had to respect the fun that team was having anybody has fun when they're winning. But the dad, he had the kids involved, everything.
I was dabbing. I'm a Saints fan.
Everybody was dabbing.
I don't know, guys. I don't think they bring him back in all sincerity. I think it's kind of just a little clickbait for us all. Everybody got to put something out there. It's a lull in football news right now, so you got to have something to keep people engaged. But it was worth talking about, and I appreciate you guys allowing me to literally vent. You saw how I kind of had to reel it back in. Like, wait a minute, I'm going so far down a rabbit hole with what's going on. Like, I'm still clearly angry about a lot with the game, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be important to see. I do want to talk about one big draft pick though, guys, that may get overlooked. 464-pound Desmond Williams out of Florida. He's literally the biggest draft prospect. Desmond Watson, excuse me, out of Florida. If he gets drafted, he's gonna be the heaviest player ever. 6'5", 464. I mean, ran the 40-yard in 53 point some odd seconds. So he's fast. He's bigger than the dancing bear that went to Philadelphia.
What's his
and
position?
The dancing bear in Philadelphia
Defensive
is
end.
super talented. I hope this guy's talented. I mean, because that's a lot of weight to carry on.
He's actually
yourself.
6'6". Correction, one more inch. 6'6". He ran the 40-yard dash. They said he's gonna be on track to become the heaviest player in NFL history. I mean, I'm going to be honest, guys. He benches 225 pounds, a whopping
How many times?
36 times. The most of any player at the NFL Combine this year. He completed the 40-yard dash in, I said 53 seconds. My bad. 5.3 seconds.
That's actually pretty good for a guy his size as a DT. I'm not gonna lie. Look, I saw him. He does look a little sloppy, but he's not that sloppy. If he's benching 225 pounds 36 times, that's strong. That's strong. Strong man, strong.
A 25-inch vertical jump too.
That's actually not bad for a guy his size.
Right.
All those superlatives are fine. There's two things that are going to happen to him. A, he's not going to get drafted because of his weight.
Hey,
or two, somebody's going to draft him. No, somebody's going to draft him and tell him to lose weight because that is the NFL way. That's the only way he gets to play. I'm telling you that right now.
He's going to get drafted. Those measurables says he's going to get drafted. It may be 4th, 5th, 6th round, but I mean,
you may be more on the right side.
Run,
yeah.
When you have a guy that size and that strong, the run is what you want to stop. You want to stop the run, and he's going to help somebody in the short term. I mean, early on, because to be that size and that big and that explosive, that's going to wear on his body at some point. And so I'd give him a good 5-6 years. But
what I'm saying, I think you're right in the first where he's going to get he was going to get drafted. That's probably more of the mix, but he's still going to have to lose weight. And let's just think about this now. If he does lose weight, that means his body will be lighter, and the 5'3" that he was running before might turn into a 4'7", or his right. If they draft him, he loses 120, 140 pounds, he's going to be quicker and lighter. So that's going to make him even more dangerous. Mm-hmm. So think about that.
And
so
hello to you,
you're
Mike.
Probably right about the draft. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike, thanks for joining. You said the time is 5.86 seconds. I don't know. They got him on Yahoo News is 5.39. So it's
I think more of the 10-second split time, and if he did a shuttle, I'm not sure if he did that or not. Somebody look, if he's playing nose or he's playing a 3 technique or whatever the situation is, he's a nose guard. He's trying to stop the run. Somebody that big, that's what they want. And so, and whoever who's playing around him is going to help, or he's going to help them, and he's going to free up because he's going to tie 2 or 3 guys to try to stop him.
And listen, yes, and listen. Go ahead, J Train. I'm sorry.
No. I just think that. I just think definitely that guy. He's probably going to be. He's a mid-round draft pick, but the run stop is what he's going to mainly be used for. And if he's that explosive. That 25-inch vertical, but that height and that size, that's actually pretty strong. I mean, and the 36 reps, that's impressive. Like Mike said, if he loses maybe like 20, 30 pounds, man. Just lose 20, 30. That explosion is going to be a lot better, and he's going to be a monster in the middle. And you don't use him the full. You don't play him. Somebody like that, that big got to get rest.
Yeah.
So you cycle him in. Man, the first 3 downs for run stopping is going to be critical. And I'd take a risk on giving a draft pick on somebody like that.
Yeah,
they
Mike
definitely could use a draft pick. I mean, could use a run stopper like that.
Yeah, Mike says he thinks he goes to Baltimore. Hello to you too, Yoli. But this is the thing right here. This is what's critical. According to this article, Watson has gotten bigger and bigger over his college career, starting at 415 during his sophomore year. And these are the words of the article, not my words, ballooning up to 440, 449 this season.
Well, we don't want him in New Orleans then. So Zion already having problems.
He's working to get his weight down, they said. That's what Florida defensive tackle Cam Jackson said. He feels like a team is going to take a shot on him. You don't find too many nose tackles moving like him. He's big, disruptive, and he puts in the work. So, like y'all said, they're probably going to draft him, but the first thing he's going to go into is a weight loss camp off the rip.
He can't come to New Orleans then, if that's the problem. Because gumbo and etouffee and everything else, shrimp po' boys, all that down there, he gonna be sneaking out of bed in the middle of the night, out of camp, going and getting sandwiches. So it just you can't have him down there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you gain weight going to New Orleans as a regular person. I mean, beignets. Yeah, beignets. I've been to New Orleans like 5 times. Every time I go, I gain at least 3 pounds. And
Mardi Gras happens once a year too.
I don't even go to that, but they got it's like New Orleans has a permanent Mardi Gras. It's Mardi Gras 24/7 there, literally. True. And so if he is there, he's gonna be having beignets delivered to the facility. Have them.
They coming to that boy's room during camp. Boudin. He's gonna have He probably gonna be on the field with. If you ever seen the movie Wildcats, the boy had donuts and everything on him on the field. So
he's gonna be like a real what's that movie? Monsters Ball, where her son had all them snacks under the pillow and stuff, candy bars and everything. Jay Trey, you made me. I gotta go back to New Orleans now. You done talk about this Boudin and all this stuff. I because you can't go to they got some New Orleans restaurants here in Atlanta, but they just are. Even though they say they're from there. It's just something that's off. It is not authentic. And you got to go on bourbon. You got to go in the quarter. Like, you got to have so much food that you can't even eat, period. And only when I went back this last time, I knew I had lost some weight because I couldn't eat my whole plate. Normally, I go over to Oceana, and I wolf down some shrimp and house pasta with all that stuff. Tennessee's dominating Kentucky. Yeah, we knew that, Mike. We talked about it. You just drop it in, but we got that change for you. Guys, what's going on in your neck of the woods? Anything going on with Lions news?
We signed a backup guard, Asawika. He's going to be there. So I don't know. The moves that they're making, I'm not sure how their draft is going to go. I know they better get a defensive end. I swear to God, they better get a defensive end. Because they need I mean, even if they get him at 28, they need to get a defensive end. Other than that, I don't know where they're going because it's weird.
Yeah. What about
James Pearson Jr. is projected to go to Detroit.
Well, they got a lot of projections of defensive ends going to Detroit. Mike Green is another one from Marshall. They also got who else was the other guy? The guy from Georgia going. So
Michael Williams.
Nobody knows this draft is all over the place, and I don't think anybody has a serious lock in who's going to go somewhere.
Yes, I'll be so glad when it comes because it's like for it to not have a lot of talent in it, it's scrounging more than ever. And Mike Patton Network, you guys check out his show. He said he just finished recording his show, so that's why he's jumping on. Thanks for the support as always, Mike. He said Pierce Jr. is a steal if he goes to Detroit.
Absolutely, I agree, Mike. That boy ran a 4.47 in the 40, and so he is lightning quick. He played well for Tennessee, and so I think he's gonna be a steal, like he said, if he falls to Detroit. He's gonna be a steal wherever
he falls all the way down to us. Yeah,
if he falls down to Detroit, though, he'll be. I don't think he's gonna get drafted.
That'll be a steal.
I mean, unless something happens at his pro day, but I don't think he's gonna get drafted that high because He came out of nowhere, and just like Shamir Stewart,
Shamir
out of
Stewart, I don't want him.
out of Texas A&M. He's a combine darling. He's a combine darling. He has all the great measurables, but he has no tape whatsoever. He had 4.5 sacks. He played 4 years. That is terrible.
And he has a 20% tackle rate, so he doesn't tackle.
Yeah. So somebody's going to reach for him. Somebody's going to reach for him.
He's the worst tackling defensive edge rusher in the group.
Oh wow! What your Saints got going? We got about 4 minutes left, guys. This time runs by so fast.
So New Orleans, I think, like you said earlier, the biggest news is that potentially Shedeur Sanders may fall to them. We'll see. They are. There's been communications about getting a quarterback. They're looking at Kyle McCord. They're looking at Jackson Dart. They're also looking at Quinn Ewers. So they're having dinner with all these guys, but those guys are later draft picks. Potentially, the Saints may move up to get either. They were in communication about possibly getting Cam Ward, but I think that might be a little too rich for their blood. 3 first-round draft picks and whatever else they want for them. I just think that New Orleans needs to stick to keeping their draft picks, getting the best player available at number 9, and go from there with the rest of their players.
Yeah, and Mike brought up, and hello, Jeffrey. Thank you so much for always supporting and all the likes and love. I appreciate that. Excuse me. So Mike Patton is saying Pierce Jr. actually didn't come out of nowhere. He was a guy who was projected to be a top 5 or 10 pick before the season. All right. Well, I had anticipated Kevin being on here tonight. Kevin, the Dirty Bird fan, but he pretended that he didn't know what time the show started. I guess that's what happens when you're busy all the time. But I did want to plug in this small thing about the Falcons. The Falcons have just signed a kicker, Lenny Craig, on Friday. And Mike Garoppolo reported this on Thursday afternoon. Basically, get a guaranteed 3-year deal. You know what? They are killing me with these guarantees. Like, Falcons, didn't y'all learn your lesson with Kirk Cousins guaranteeing these folks? But apparently, this kicker, who's German and maybe my cousin, I mean, he may really be, I don't know, I'm a family and they are German, but he is going to be competing for Young Wei Koo's spot, guys. Young Wei, of course, a lot of the Falcons games, they literally heavily leaned on Young Wei. I remember one game, all they had was field goals and not one touchdown. A couple of games was like
Pittsburgh.
that. Yes, the opener, I was there. And so the fact that, now, I don't know, there's a little thing amok between Young Wei and everybody. So Young Wei just may not be there as long. We don't know. This is just the rumblings going on. And
I mean, I was just gonna say that that name, when you said that name of the new kicker, I was like, that sounds like a name of somebody putting out a cigarette and finishing a beer on the sideline before he goes in and kicks the winning field goal. But when you said
what's that kicker and the replacements? That Australian kicker.
Yes, exactly. You said he was German. I was like, he probably is finishing off a lager on the side.
Yeah. So and then speaking of, there's a lot of kick players for the Falcons that have not been picked up. Hayden Hurst being one of them. A lot of good Falcons, that they actually, I guess they had to expend all of them to pay Kirk O'Bangs, and so that's what happens in Atlanta. Kevin, if you're watching, it is definitely meant what I said, and I mean it wholeheartedly. And Jeffrey, thanks for all these signings in. The Panthers, of course, signed kicker themselves today, Matthew Wright. The team is bringing back this kicker who was with the squad in 2023, both during the training camp and everything. And Hayden Hurst got some concussion issues, Mike. You're right about that. So I don't know, guys, as we say, the roll goes on. J Train will be joining us in the morning with the Saturday morning debate show with Jack Hirsch. I may pop in. If not, I'll be backstage. Mac, we miss you. Strilla, thanks for joining us. Strilla will be joining us on Sunday morning. All 3 of us will be on this Sunday morning big sports show. We appreciate everybody for all the likes, love, and we hope everybody has a beautiful last weekend of March.
Go Pistons.
Go.
This is a presentation of National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasters, 70 weekly shows, and a 3.4-star rating on Roku TV.